Hi there, Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies. I'm just here in a local park in Edmonton. Today's video is about point of view and about neutrality for therapists. So I got a message responding to one of my videos about point of view. And the question was this. The person said, well, I'm a therapist and I've been told, this is the training, is that I have to be very neutral, with my clients. I'm not supposed to have a point of view, and so this point of view thing sounds compelling, but how do I do it in a way that's sort of honoring the ethics? So I'm not a psychotherapist. I don't know all the exact ethics, but I'll say this. Let's just start from the client's experience, or the potential client's experience. They're struggling with something, they're looking for a therapist. The first thing they're doing is they go to psychology today, and they're looking for maybe somebody who specializes in the issue they're struggling with. Yeah, the niche question. And they are immediately appalled and disappointed because so many therapists do not have anything at all for a niche. But let's say they find 3 or 4 therapists in their local area who really specialize in that, and they say, okay, these are my options. Then they go to the website. Oh, but wait, most of them don't have a website. So then there's maybe a couple that do. Now they go to the websites, they say, I'd really like to learn more about this therapist and their approach and their perspective, and there's nothing. And that's the usual state of affairs. So from the client's perspective, they want to know your point of view. What's your take on things? There's no generic philosophy, point of view, perspective of therapists. There's different schools of thought. I mean, I don't need to go into all the, Jungian, Freudian, Carl Rogers' work, Virginia Satir, NLP. There's so many different modalities and thus different perspectives. That doesn't include if you broaden it to more cultural work. You bring in shamanic stuff, you bring in soulful work, James Hillman, and the understanding that there is a soul, and now we're talking about something very different than just mainstream psychology. So I think that's the first thing to get. There is no such thing as a neutral, normal, standardized view of therapists. If there is, that has more to do with issues of power than it does with, the truth of the thing. It's just who was able to defeat the other ideas in the marketplace. Defeating ideas doesn't mean they're disproven. In my mind, as Western medicine shows us very clearly. So that's number 1. Number 2, in your sessions with clients, are you supposed to be neutral? Well, I direct everyone to a real fine book called Entering the Ghost River by Deena Metzger. She writes about this. Are we supposed to, as therapists, be distant, objective, removed, listening, not really connected to it, but just, So what I hear you saying is that our role? Are we supposed to have no relationship? Well, there's different points of view on that as well. But you will be guided by a point of view when they show up. The session will be directed by the way you see the world. Everything testifies to your point of view. When they walk in a room, the fact that you're in a room inside is part of your point of view. Do they sit in chairs or are you sitting on the ground? That's your point of view. How are they dressed? How are you dressed as a therapist? That's your point of view. How is your office decorated? Is it an office? Is it in your home? Is it in a clinic? All of these things say something about how you see therapy in the world. How long are the sessions? That says something. How do you act in the sessions, of course. So if I were to go find a therapist, I want to know as much of that as possible in advance to know if it was a fit. I want to know that before I spend the $180 for the session. I don't want to be sitting there in the session having somebody explain their point of view to me in the first session. I want to know that before I show up. And of course, again, most don't. Most therapists don't testify to their point of view. So are you supposed to use your point of view to try to strong arm them to see the world the way you do? No. I don't know if supposed to helps, but I'll say, yeah, if I went to see a therapist and they tried to convince me to see the world the way they saw it, I wouldn't be impressed. But if I picked a therapist because we saw the world in the same way, I would certainly expect that our sessions would travel along the same roads as those understandings we share. So I don't even understand what it means to be neutral as the therapist. It doesn't make any sense to me. There's no such thing as a neutral point of view. It's the same thing as when people say skin color and it looks like mine, as if that's the only color of skin there is in the world, and as if my own skin doesn't change color throughout the year. Normal just means dominant. That's all. Normal just means what we've all become accustomed to in the mainstream. You can get away with saying skin color like that, in a country like the United States of America, where clearly there are many people of color, because it's only white people on TV, or was at a certain point only white people in the government. Then it's normal. Then Band-Aids all have the skin tone to blend in. So when something becomes normal, it's seen as neutral. It's just seen as that's how it is, and anything else is weird and perverse and strange and different. So here's another thought. If you are planning to be neutral, I can say this: your work will be no threat to the system. Your work will be no threat to the people in power, and your work will be no threat to any soulful part of that person. It will be no threat to the parts that want to hold down the soulful part of the person. But your work will absolutely be an enemy to the soul of that person. Because if you try to be neutral, it means you're probably going along with the dominant society, and the dominant society is soul crushing. And if you think that's the purpose of your work, is to uphold the status quo of the dominant society and how it is, I'm sorry to hear that. So how can you be neutral? I mean, that's the Elie Wiesel line, isn't it? Where he says, you must never be neutral in the face of oppression, because neutrality always favors the oppressor. So we can't be neutral in the society, and can we be neutral in the work? Are we not supposed to have any opinions about how it's supposed to go for our clients, or opinions about what they say? I don't know if that's true. We're just supposed to be robots asking pre-programmed questions? Or could it be that our own reactions and responses to it might inform us in a way? Yeah. Now, of course, we have to do our own work. I think having an opinion about how healing and change happens is not the same as having an agenda of how our clients end up or what they do or don't do. I think those are different things. But again, you could be very candid up front and say, my point of view is, I just tell you you're an idiot if I think you're an idiot. People might actually enjoy that. They might pay for that. And you might have a point of view that says, my job is just to ask you questions. Nothing I say during our sessions will end with a period or exclamation mark. It'll always end with a question mark. That's all I do. I'm just there to ask you questions. People would sign up for that. But you see, those are both points of view. Those are both perspectives. It's just that your clients want to know it before. Anyways, I hope that's helpful. If you're a therapist, if you know some therapists you think might like this video, please feel free to share it with them. If you disagree with me, you got a different point of view, put it in the comments below. I'd love to see it. If you'd like to see more videos like this, hit the red subscribe button and the bell icon, and you'll be notified when the new videos come out. Thanks so much.